one of the things that you said that I really liked was you asked people who were running the event or running the thing how they pushed it out, right? How they did things differently. And very often we get trapped in the allure of the experience, not the facilitation of it, right? Not how somebody actually went about doing it. You also mentioned that when you were shifting from concierge into the marketing or the marketing side of it, you were kind of repositioning for them and saying, hey, what if you could have less clients and make more from them?
Yeah.
Who was the audience for that?
So anyone that's got a course, anyone that's got a product, anyone that sells anything knows full well that all the moaning comes from the person that spent $20 on it. You know?
I'm well aware of this.
You don't get the guy that's spending 20 grand a month bitching. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I actually believe that's because of a couple of different movements. One, you'll pay attention to the guy paying 20 grand. You'll think the guy for $20 is getting what he needs. Okay. But you're split focusing. I'm a great believer that you can't half jump in the pool. All right. You deal with that market or you deal with that market. You know, if you've got this market, then head it off to someone else, but don't dip your toe in both. You can't do that. And I noticed that a lot of people, as they were growing and they were trying to scale, the first mistake they would do was reduce their prices. How do I get more people? Well, that's easy. I half my price.
Right.
I half my price. I double the value, which means double the content, double the courses, double the work, double the friction. How is this good?
Right.
You know, again, it's like the emperor's new clothes. You look at it and you go, the guy's naked. You know, so you get to see these things and you go, well, why are you doing that? Now, if I said to you, you want a yacht, you want a penthouse, you want to travel the planet, would you want to do that with 200,000 clients or do you want to do it with two?
Mm-hmm.
I know what your answer is going to be.
Yeah.
You know, I want 2 headaches rather than 200,000.
Right.
So I went out and I thought to myself, I can either do work for people with not a lot of money and do 3 times the amount of work, or I can eliminate the payment as the first problem by only soliciting billionaires.
Mm.
And so what I would do is I would go for them. And do you know the funny thing? Guys are scared of 2 things. Okay? And entrepreneurs are scared of 2 things. Hot girls. guys are terrified to talk to hot girls.
Yeah.
Okay? And billionaires.
Mm.
That's a funny one, you know, because they will turn around and they go, I don't know how to talk to billionaires.
Yeah.
I don't know how to solve a billionaire's problems. Now I'm talking to you and I know you've got things in the back of your head because you've dealt with billionaires, you deal with people with money. But here's the thing. There was a point in time where you didn't have any money.
Right.
There was a point in time when you would get the red letter and then the second red letter and then the threaten to be cut off and then you'd pay it by borrowing some money from Billy. We've all been in that. We know what that experience looks like. So we know the problems of not having a lot of money.
Right.
Not a lot of us that know what the problems are of having too much money.
Right.
So how do we relate to those people? But if you look at the richest people on the planet now, pick them. Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, any of these people, they didn't have money.
Right.
They started, so they know the relationship to not having.
Mm.
And people think, because you're a billionaire, let me stick you on that pedestal. My God, everything you say is gospel because you're a genius. Yes, and maybe 1 or 2 things.
Right.
But for the rest of their life, they know what it's like not to be able to afford or to go into a grocery store and know to the dollar how much is in the bank account so they know how many loaves of bread they can buy. So I went out there and I went, okay, I can't relate to them, but they must have my problems. They must, maybe that's scalable. You know, they want to tell cool cocktail parties. They want to show off in front of their friends. How many millionaires do you know that still have a hang up, still don't think they're rich enough, still are taking photos on the planes that they don't own?
A lot. All of them.
You get that level, and it's also the other hard thing. Do you remember as a kid when you would go, when I'm a millionaire, I'm done? You know, and then you hit $1 million and you go, I'm still poor as fuck, you know?
Yeah.
If you're a millionaire, you can't be living in Manhattan, LA, or any
No.
of these places. You've got a tiny little apartment and a shitty car.
And the question is, it doesn't matter the number, because even if whatever your number is, like, are you rich?
Yeah.
Right? Purely monetarily. And like, you can define the word rich in many other
Yeah.
ways, right? But if you're just talking about money, what is rich? And there are people that have, $1 million that live in rural Indiana, right? That will call themselves rich.
Yep.
And there are people that have $100 million and would be like, well, I'm not like rich, right? There's the guy or girl that has 7 billion or 8 billion or 100 billion, whatever, right? So there's definitely frame involved there.